Me, 33F, with my wife, 30F. She is a very frequent verbal processor, and it's becoming more than I can take in. Wife is a verbal processor, always has been and always will be. I'm more the opposite, but still make space to listen to her. With having been locked down for the past year or so, that's led to many more opportunities for verbal dumps, especially in the past few months, as her job has been really frustrating. It seems like at least 5 times a day she's telling me something frustrating / annoying / obnoxious / overwhelming about her job. Now, her job is challenging. I know that. And I want to be there for her and let her process. But it's happening so much she'll just start going on with, if I'm being totally honest, complaint after complaint and zero reflection of her role or accountability. I mean that sincerely. It's only ever about other people. And when I try to respond with anything other than that sounds really hard, then I'm being invalidating and it turns into a row. But I simply don't have the capacity to be talked at this much, and being asked to follow a scripted response of that sounds really hard. I've brought it up multiple times that it's overcapacity for me, and she keeps saying I know, I need to find other people to vent to, but nothing is really changing. If anything, it's getting worse. Am I a total asshole for even trying to set boundaries? Should I just be the sounding board at her beck and call? Too long didn't read. She's a verbal processor anyway, way more so since lockdown, but it's becoming too much negativity for me and I just feel talked at, not with. She needs a therapist. I'm also a verbal processor, and when I'm going through something difficult, like it sounds like your wife is with work, I get a therapist using BetterHelp so that I can voice memo, talk and text my therapist and dump on someone who is trained / paid to help me process, rather than overburdening my partner. I'm not joking, but she is a counselor. I've gently suggested therapy many times over the years. Right now the response I get is that no one is taking new patients. Am I a total asshole for even trying to set boundaries? No, it would be worse if you didn't. She needs to find another person to vent to for both of your sakes. My wife is like that too, but she spreads it around me, her mom, her co-workers, her friends, etc. I hear you on the "that sounds really hard" thing, though. I usually go with "that sucks." I have this person in my life too sometimes. I do things whilst he talks. Clean the kitchen, fold laundry, bike on my stationary bike. I'll say I'm listening, but come downstairs while I fold laundry or keep talking and he feels like I care, I think, and I get other tasks and things so I don't go insane. Obviously everyone else is right about therapy. Don't disregard that shit. Interrupt her. She knows that she's dumping on you too much because you've tried to set this boundary repeatedly, so it won't come as a shock. Go ahead and say, I am really and truly at capacity for venting, and I need us to talk about something else now. Keep that line, even if she tries to brush you off. I agree with this. I also have a tendency to get into rant mode if I've had a bad day at work or got wound up about something, and working from home my partner's definitely had to put up with a bit more. He'll let me talk about it and engage, but if I start repeating myself, talking over him, or just generally get increasingly annoyed, he'll in a nice way be like, you've stressed yourself out enough, let's go for a walk, make dinner / watch something instead. I genuinely need the interruption and distraction, or I just get more and more wound up. Ops partner should have the self-awareness to know she does this and take the feedback if she's going over the top. Me, 36M, married to my wife, 36F, 11 years, and I can't stop thinking about a girl I dated for 1 month 16 years ago. I have what I consider to be a good healthy relationship with my wife. For some reason though, I recently am unable to stop thinking about a girl I dated 16 years ago, for the entirety of a month. The relationship was normal for two 20-year-olds. We liked to low-key hang out, and have lots of sex. The relationship ended abruptly one day. She and I hung out with a group of people on Saturday night, did our normal at-home thing, then got up Sunday and went to a friend's college graduation party. Then, as I remember it, she seemed super distant, and just up and left. That was the end of it. I remember at the time I took the breakup really hard. Called off work 3 days, got super drunk, cried to my friends. The other night I had a dream about her, and in the dream I kept calling her the one that got away. I know that isn't true in any sense of the word. We definitely both went completely different directions in life as far as I know. I don't really know much about her, as we completely stopped talking at the end of our relationship, and never stayed friends. Ever since that dream, I have been rehashing those 4 to 5 weeks, 16 years ago, over and over again in my mind. It's driving me nuts. I am not sure how to bring this up to my wife, or even if I should mention it. I've read a few self-help articles saying this all really points to me just never getting closure on the relationship. Any and all advice would be greatly appreciated. Too long didn't read, can't stop thinking about girl I dated 16 years ago. No contact with her in 16 years. Should I discuss with my wife? Advice on dealing with this? Don't mention this to your wife. This is your midlife crisis problem to deal with. You are fearing aging and fearing growing older with things undone. This isn't about that girl 16 years ago, it's about you worrying about all the things you haven't done with your life. Therapy for you, all in to deal with the fact that you are going to get older and there will always be other things that you can't be a part of. A lot of the time it's easy to romanticize something that happened forever ago because you forget about the bad parts and all the reasons that person wasn't meant for us. Just remember that it ended for a reason and you love your wife. I really don't think it's about closure, which is a nebulous concept at best. Sometimes, brains just latch onto things to worry it for a bit. Story you have about this relationship might have some symbolic value for you right now, too. Are you, as you/normality is restored suggested, feeling some FOMO? Are you feeling some loss of control and fixating on a different situation where you felt like you didn't have control? Is there a part of yourself that was more front and center in that relationship or in that time of your life that you now miss? Don't mention it to your wife. Odds are in another month this girl will have completely left your mind, but your wife still might be anxious if you tell her. This means literally nothing besides that you're temporarily stuck going what if. It's not about this girl at all. She would be a total stranger to you now and was pretty much a total stranger to you while you were dating her for barely enough time for a mouse to gestate a litter. It's not even about the lack of closure. What closure do you need from something that barely began? You just are in a rut we sometimes get into where your life is good but you wonder if it could have been better. Concentrate on what you have, and if you have areas of dissatisfaction, think of ways to improve those in future. With the weather warming up, see if you can get out of the house and do something new with your wife. Stay COVID safe though, and don't give these thoughts more weight than they actually have. Yeah. Definitely don't mention that to the wife. I, 33/M, sometimes think my girlfriend, 27/F, is ugly and I want to stop scrutinizing her appearance. My title is a bit clickbaity, so I hope you hear me out before you react. I also know that this post is going to make me sound bad, but before I begin, I have never and I will never say anything about this to anybody. I know this is a personal problem I have that I want to work on if someone can point me in the right direction. First and foremost, I know I am shallow. Very shallow. I see this as a character flaw of mine, and if I could remove my shallowness surgically, I would. My working theory why I am shallow is because girls didn't really go for me growing up. Everybody got girlfriends around me, but I didn't, so as I got older I got fixated by improving the things I could improve. So I started exercising all the time and researched fashion and spent a lot of money on clothes. I also think that because I didn't get girlfriends before, I sort of hyped it up that I needed to have the best girlfriend to justify all the years of wanting. But as I got older, my looks and physique improved, and I could get dates and girls, and I got to the point that it was no longer an issue. I know this kind of post makes me sound like an asshole, but again, realize that this is all internal, so whatever my potential dates experience is completely detached from this part of me that I am showing to you. I have tried to date a lot of girls based purely on appearance, and it never worked out. As I was doing it, it never felt worth it. I started to see that you need to have more in common than just physical attractiveness. Then I found the girl I am now in a relationship with. We have been together 1,5 years and the relationship is effortless. We have lots in common. She is super into me and expresses so daily. She says I'm the love of her life. We have never really had a fight. She is open-minded and wants to try new things, something that I really like. For the most part I think my girlfriend is beau today. I fucked up. As a shallow man I wouldn't have gone on more dates in the beginning if her looks throw me off. I have done so countless times before. So what is happening now? I see more of as a disease than I am clearly seeing reality. But okay, I sometimes thinks my girlfriend is ugly, and it's in fleeting moments. Then she looks like herself again. I think my brain is sick from all people we can see on social media as well. It compares her to these photohopped airbrushed surgically enhanced individuals and I don't know why. Like it is only causing me misery and I don't understand why my brain has to invent this right now when I haven't felt like this until now. I know my post is vague so I will try to make a concrete question. Like I know this is the girl I want to stay with. I have had enough experience with others to know that it's someone like her I need in my life and not some Instagram girl, but I just wish my brain would stop causing me these moments of upset. Is there anybody out there that was shallow but then found some method to work on it? Like the ultimate goal for me would be to be satisfied with this relationship. If I could press a button that guaranteed that this relationship worked for life, I would press it without hesitation. Too long didn't read. How can I be less shallow and enjoy relationship with 27/F more? Sounds like you might have some narcissistic traits. You seem pretty self-aware so I wouldn't say you're an arc, but the way you talk about your GF having more value to you when she looks the way you want sounds to me like quite a self-centered view. Why does it matter so much to you if she doesn't always look her prettiest? Good points. And I don't know. I think it's a form of insecurity. That I think everything in life has to be improved upon at all times and nothing can just be as it is. And I also think this attitude is causing majority of my problems since it's not a good way to live. I also think that because I didn't get girlfriends before I sort of hyped it up that I needed to have the best girlfriend to justify all the years of wanting. You're not owed a girlfriend just because you didn't have one in the past. This is some incel thinking. I have tried to date a lot of girls based purely on appearance, and it never worked out. Because you did the same thing that was done to you and expected different results. But okay, I sometimes thinks my girlfriend is ugly. And it's in fleeting moments, then she looks like herself again. Because you've conditioned yourself to accept Instagram as reality, even if you try to rationalize that it's not. You may have become hot, but you're still just as insecure on the inside and projecting it on your girlfriend. You have flashes of thinking you aren't good enough, and project it onto your girlfriend because it's easier to say that she is the subpar one than to accept that the fault lies with you. Your girlfriend isn't a doll that should be perfect 100% of the time for you just because you think you deserve it. She has her insecurities, just as you do. The bare minimum you should do right now is delete Instagram and any other app you use to look at women like this. You need to reframe your entire way of thinking to escape this, but you can only do it by stopping this self-victimization and not using shallowness as an excuse anymore. In truth here, I'd lay odds there are times when you look ugly to your GF as well, waking up in the morning, slack-jawed on your phone, eating something messy. I'm sure there are times your girlfriend isn't looking at you and thinking you look amazing. Please examine yourself with the same scrutiny as you do your girlfriend and appreciate that it is unrealistic and sexist to expect your girlfriend to look attractive in every moment. Do you hold yourself accountable to look hot in every resting moment? If not, why should she? Looking ugly is not a character flaw. You're not owed it to find you're so attractive every moment of the day. What is a character flaw is this type of unrealistic expectation on your partner. I would encourage you to actively train yourself out of your shallowness by developing your appreciation for deeper things, her talents, strengths, sense of humor, etc. This is a concerning trend as everyone gets less traditionally attractive with age, and we all age. This includes you. Therapy may also be helpful in assisting you to get over your experiences growing up and see others in a more realistic and caring light. Being very shallow is absolutely something that will cause problems in your life. and I am curious what steps you are taking to self-reflect on this, either alone or with a professional. Does this shallowness and sexism affect other areas of your life? How is your attitude towards women in general? Do you judge men on their appearance this harshly, or just women? If so, why is that? Work on this before you age, have kids, or any other life event that will have natural effects to your girlfriend's external appearance. Otherwise you will hurt this woman.